Hey guys, it's John, and today we're here with part two of our Android FPS game. So you've got a device. It may not be the best device, but you have it. You want to test on it. You want to build a level, and then you want to put it into Copper Cube, then export it and see what you can work with. Because we know we can work with the plane, with a what's called a billboard. Basically another plane that just rotates to whatever the camera looks like. So we're talking like below even low poly. We're talking like basic rudimentary 3D stuff. Now we want to actually build like a level or a semi level, something just to kind of like test the waters on to see, okay, I know I can do ultra basic stuff. How much of that can I do? Now, can I just do something along the lines of Wolfenstein, Quake 1, Doom 3? Like, how far can I push my device? And then taking from that, how can I then build a game that's going to play on other devices? Because you have to hit the sweet spot in the middle to where, yeah, there's going to be people with like, high-end devices, Galaxy 6, even 4, 4s, 5s, 6s, we'll skip 7, the LG series. So you're going to have a lot of even like third-party companies with some decent GPUs, but then you're going to have a lot of people with like low-end phones. So we already know like the LG Ultimate 2, the LG Power, they have like the 302 and the 306 Adrenos, which can play some pretty good games. They're gonna like super low-res textures, and then we have Molly's, and then you have MediaTek's GPUs. So you gotta play the middle game of make it look nice enough to where people want to play, or in this case, fun enough for people to play, but not like super like gorgeous. That you may win some sort of like mobile prize, but only like 200 people bought it, or in this case played it. So right here I have a another test scene, and these are all 512 textures. So in this case that's 128 by 512. So they're going to be able to play it. Even like low-end processors can totally play around with 512 textures. 1028, you're gonna get into some buffering issues, but you can even play with those. What I've done in this level is, and here's all the textures right here, is I have normal maps on 3 of them. So this tiled metal wall has a normal map, and the normal map is kind of something that takes light and then says, okay, this item's bumped out, and then this item has like a like a line through it and everything. It's a totally flat texture. Like if you like put the camera up to it, it's totally flat, like a flat plane. It has not been modeled like this wall to bend or anything, but the normal map gives you that nice little fake bump. Now this engine doesn't have anything like Unity where you can have like bumped diffuse bumps or specular highlights or stuff like that. I would actually love to have in this engine, even if it's like down to like only like 10 type of like what I call filters, normal map, height maps, all that type of stuff. I would love to have those type of stuff. Might have it in a release or two down the line to where we actually start looking like a Unreal Engine toward like the beginning of what it used to be, or something what it is right now, just in an extreme like filtered sense. But right now we just have normal maps. We have some solid reflective maps. So if I go to this like stone wall, oops, that's transparent. I want solid fake reflective mapping. So there you go. That's just plain solid. And then if we add a normal map and then apply the rock normal map to it, we get a little bit more detailed. It's not super pretty like it would be in Unity, but it's nice. And again, this is just a demo. But how do we create this level? Now you model it in a whole bunch of 3D modeling suits. If you don't want to buy one, there's one called Blender 3D. Now this is an older version. They have newer versions out, and this is a free 3D modeling suit, and then you can create textures. I'll put the link down below for you guys to try out, along with the .blend file. If you guys know about Blender, you can play around with this. The textures will be down below in a zip file along with the blend, the .ccb, so the CopperCube file, the APK, and I think that's it. If you have any other questions of what you guys need, post or comment down below, or you can email me. Just go to my YouTube About page and you can see my email there, and just email me, say, hey, I need help with this, or XYZ didn't properly come through and I need some help. So that's what I'm here for. So I just created it here. Since we have double-sided filter inside of CopperCube, I didn't really care about it not showing through on either side. And in the case of the rock, I literally just mirrored the metal texture. I just duplicated it, made it a little bit bigger so it'd be like a rock texture, and I made, hey, that's simple enough for some sort of I went for a Doom 3 effect. The dropship comes down, the ceiling closes, and then you get out of your little dropship and then you walk out. But right now we're going to test with this building, a level and everything. So I already have a little module set built, so you guys can play around with this. These are all planes, all 2D, or not 2D, but 3D planes. They're just flat, and then you guys can build a base, like a really basic level with these, and then export it. So that's what we're going to do right now. So we're going to create a little room real quick for us to then export, so I can show you guys how to do this. So I'm going to create a really basic floor. It's going to be a pretty big size room so we can play around with it. Maybe a corridor. If you just want to speed through this, I might put a timestamp or something like that. Okay, so we're going to take one of these textures. I'm just going to duplicate it, so I can always have one of those. We're going to view, select this so we can zoom in on that. We're going to go to top view, and we're going to go to one of these squares. Now, I did one of these so I could just duplicate it and do stuff like that. What you can do is click right on it, tab, and then you have the texture right there. And then I'm going to size this up by 6. Okay, maybe a little bigger. So undo that. So it's me Control Z to undo. Size, that's just hitting S. And then we're going to do 10. Alright, there we go. Now remember that because we're going to go into over here. S. 10. Boom, we have our texture. So that's our floor that our character is going to be walking around. And I'm going to actually duplicate this a couple times. So having it still highlighted, we're going to Shift D, and then I'm going to just then go G, Z, so that's grab. So okay, Shift D, G, Z, or in this case X, or you could just hit the X, Z, or Y button to tell you hey, I want to go this way. Okay, and then we can actually just select faces by going into select mode, and then you want to hit the triangle. Make sure they're really close. Okay, now what I'm going to do is create a little corridor. Again, right click, Shift D, zoom out, and then we're going to go over here, be selected, make like you're going to one room to another room. Would you size that up by 2? Then I'm also going to stretch that, so A, double tap, S, Y, 2, and then there you go, you got it, times 2, and then we're just gonna move this. Shift D, grab our GY, boom. So we have one room and another room. All we need to do is set up some like walls. And we'll make it kind of basic. So we'll just set up a basic wall. And this isn't going to be, this will be part of the blend file, but this actually won't be our little level. This is going to be our level, so when we test it, we can see what, you know, what frame rate is and everything. But this is, if you can't play that level, you can try out this level and then build from here. This is just to show you guys how to export to CopperCube. And then we want to go to front view, oops, side view, and then to go to the other side view, it's control click. There you go. Do it to where the bottom white line almost disappears, or it's just disappeared. Okay, and then we want to shrink that to right where we want the wall to be, or how tall we want the wall to be. And then what we can do is just hit E for extrude, and then rotate it, or just grab it. Boom. Okay, and then just if you want to fix the unwrap, just hit U, unwrap bounds, but usually you want to be on one of the sides. So this could be like if you're doing a top-down shooter, like I guess Shadowgrounds, this could be like a garage. But we're not doing one of those. Again, about halfway, extrude again, move it. And then in this case, you could click that, and then rotate them. And then we can click on that. We can Shift D, grab X or GX, those are buttons. Extrude again. Extrude again. And yeah, we'll just do that by hand. I may cut this portion out, and then I'll get back to you when we're finished with this level. Alright, so we have our 2 rooms. The only thing we have to do now is just edit the walls. And then just add a wall so we don't fall off the little corridor in between. Boom, done. Alright, so at this point you want to select everything. You literally manually select everything, or what you can do is hit B and select everything. Don't worry, my version is just a little buggy, so that's why it's doing that. Your version's not going to do that, especially if you use the newer Blender. Okay, now that we have what we need selected, we're going to hit Control J, and that's going to select everything. And then we want to just center new in the editing, or F9. You just press F9, or go click the editing box and you want to see center new. And we have everything connected now. So we have two rooms connected. We're going to go to File, Export, Wavefront or .obj. We're going to export this to a USB drive in the F category. Export Wavefront OBJ. You really need to click Copy Images. That then moves all the images with the .obj or the .mtl. The .mtl stores all of the storage, like mapping formats and everything, saying, hey, this goes here, this goes here. You really need that, especially when you import it into CopperCube. It doesn't import the MTL, but the OBJ is linked to the .mtl, so it stores all the mapping stuff. So copy images, we're going to export it, it exports it, then we go into CopperCube. Okay, so I'm actually going to add a new scene. It's going to be called Scene 2. We're going to delete the box, insert a static mesh. We're going to go to F, and then we're going to go to Module 3D. So Module 3D is OBJ. Boom, here we go. With textures. So a lot of people have been like, hey, I can't get it to go with textures. They've improved the .obj, and I think other formats like .3ds, and I think blenders you can normally, or import blender .blend assets too. I just like .obj because it works. So I don't have any headaches or anything like that. So now we're going to go to the camera, first person camera, click OK. It's going to be a bit big, so we can just increase our level. It's a bit big, so it'd be 5 by 5 by 5. That works-ish a bit. Go one up. Okay, and what we can do to test it, just make sure, you know, all sizes and everything fit, like our character with its colliding box. We'll get to the corridor. Also to make sure that the camera is not going too fast or going through the wall. And then yeah, that works actually perfectly. Because in case you want to add like wires on the ceiling or lights or just, you know, some extra stuff on the ceiling, in case you can, you know, the poly count's not too high. Again, everything is still really, so if we toggle wireframe, this is an extremely low poly level, so in case you want to add some decoration, you could be able to. I mean, you would be able to, it's low poly. Now what you want to do is go to Scene Editing, add a Touch 2D little joystick, and then scale it. And then save it, and then you can export it. So I'm saving this to my USB drive for safekeeping, and then you want to export this or publish as in .apk, and then it's going to just write it as an APK file, and then you just test it out. So it's been published to my the F drive, my USB drive, as fps part2.apk. And then what you do is you can then either email it to yourself. I mean, Gmail allows files as long as they're not over 25 megabytes, and then you can just open it up on your phone, download it, install it, and boom, you can see if it actually runs or if you need to tweak the camera or the view. So at this point, I'm going to switch over to the test, and then we'll move on to a little bit larger level, and then adding in objects, some characters, or animated scenes. So we're not quite done yet, and I'll see you in the next one.